Hey everybody, Yogi here. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. This episode is sponsored by Repel because the mosquitoes in Wisconsin this year are god awful. Actually, I'm not sponsored by Repel, but hey, if Repel sees this, I'll take some free cans because that's how bad it is this year. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to, if it's your first time, welcome. I don't really have a set plan today. I got off to a late start. It's quarter to 10 in the morning. Usually I like to be on the road earlier than this. And we're going to do like, whatever kind of small towns, maybe cities we come across, roadside attractions, abandoned, all that stuff. If we come, whatever we come across today, I'll film. And let's go find some roadside attractions, small towns, abandoned, and more. Wow, is that low? Holy cow. What happened there? My goodness. That is low. He who walks between the rows, Malachi. We have arrived. Honey Acres. The museum is right over there, the entrance. And we have here a wooden structure of something. What do you think that is? That's a cool little weeping willow right there. Just remember, there's a bee crossing, so slow down. All right, we're going to go check out the museum. It says right here, there's a sign, Honey of a Museum. It says here, bee bowls. A bee bowl is a niche in a masonry wall used to shelter straw skep beehive. Hundreds of bowls can still be found all over Europe, where they have been used for over 600 years. Wow. Instead of dirt and poison, we have rather chosen to fill our hides with honey and wax, thus furnishing mankind with the two noblest of things, which are sweetness and light. Jonathan Swift, 1667, 1745. Holy cow, look at all the bees over there. There are a ton of bees over there. It says beekeeper is best. Got a photo over here. It says the three buildings on the left were erected in the 1850s. They served as the Oconomowoc Library from 1901 to 1987. Bricks from these buildings were used to build our bee bowls and fountain in 1989. Oh, okay. All right, let's go check out the museum. Again, I don't know if you can see all the bees right there, but there's a ton of them flying around. Okay. Happy honey days. You enter through the gift shop. Ooh, these are good. Oh, those look really good. honey straws, clover, mint chocolate, lemon, orange, raspberry. Wow. Very neat. Got a bunch of beeswax here. Books on bees. Bunch of honey pots. Honey-themed cookie jars. Two for $1. I'm gonna have to get some of those. So the museum entry is free here. It is a self-guided museum, so go right in. And if you need assistance with purchasing anything, you press this button right here. Pure Honey Acres honey, always a treat. And then up there, make every day sunny with milk and honey. Wisconsin Beekeepers Association. They have more stuff over here. They have some bags of honey patties. They're all dark chocolate. I don't think there's any milk chocolate ones. You got buckwheat honey, wildflower honey, vanilla honey, cinnamon apple, chai spice, raw, lemon. Bigger containers here. You got lip balm, honey caramels. All right, let's go into the museum.
A circle dance means flowers are pretty close to the hive, but for food that's farther away, they get their waggle on. The waggle dance of the honeybee was first decoded by Carl von Frisch, and it's definitely one of the coolest examples of animal communication in nature. First, the
got a
bee
little
walks
theater
in a straight
here,
line, wagging its body back and forth and vibrating its wings, before repeating in a figure eight. Now, whatever angle the bee walks while waggling tells the other bees what direction to go. If it's straight up the line of the honeycombs, then the food is in the direction of the sun. If the dance is pointed to the left or the right, the other bees know to fly at that angle relative to the sun. The longer the waggle, the farther away the food is. And the better the food, the more excited the bee shakes its body. If that's not amazing enough, even if they can't see the sun itself, they can infer where it is and the time of day by reading the polarization of light in the blue sky. A single bee is a pretty simple creature, but together they create highly complex.
I am the only person in here.
Societies. There's three main classes in a beehive: drones, workers,
It's a summer.
and queens. And when a new queen is born, she immediately runs around and kills her sisters because there can be.
If you want to pause these, you can read them.
Now, during mating season, she'll fly to a distant hive to mate with several males and store away their sperm, which she'll use back in her home hive to lay more than 1,000 eggs a day throughout the rest of her life. Any unfertilized eggs, those that don't join up with sperm, will mature into male drones, which
More
means they
summer.
only have one set of chromosomes. But fertilized eggs are all genetically female. They're destined to become either queens or workers. Now, queens do the egg laying, of course, but worker bees are the backbone of the beehive. So what makes most females become workers while just one wears the hive crown? A baby bee's diet activates genetic programming that shifts its entire destiny. Every bee larva is initially fed a nutrient-rich food called royal jelly. But after a few days, worker bee babies are switched to a mixture of pollen and honey called bee bread. But queens eat royal jelly their whole
Fall.
life, even as adults. Scientists used to think it was just royal jelly that put queens on the throne. But just last year, they discovered one chemical in bee bread, the food that queens don't get, that keeps worker bees sterile. Being a queen seems to be just as much about what bees don't eat as what they do. Making
Winter.
honey is insect farming on its grandest scale, with intricate societies cooperating to make a food fit for bear tummies big and small, with the pleasant side effect of pollinating.
Again, folks, if you want to read it, just pause it. I'm not going to read everything. Get your drone cells right there. queen cells,
It's okay to be smart.
comb foundation, honeycomb, young queen, drone, worker,
For bees and flower blossoms,
eggs,
specifically
larva,
two
pupa.
things: feeding and fertilizing. See, the flower would pass their genes on to the next generation, and the bees need to eat so that they can do the same. So these a little teamwork.
Early spring.
How do bees find flowers? And how do flowers find
Most people know the life cycle of a butterfly, but did you know it's very similar to that of a honeybee? Rotate the dial to compare their stages of development.
pollinators to carry their genes on to the next generation? And flowers like a big neon sign that used to say,
Okay.
"Land here." In return for getting a helping hand in making baby plants, most flowers offer a taste of its genes, and the worker bee gets a sugary drink and packs her needs with golden, protein-rich pollen. You think back to the thousands of hungry mouths back in the hive. Everybody gets what they want.
Honey Acres Observation Hive. Push the button.
It's a completely different life.
Oh yeah, look at all the bees in there.
These compound eyes made of thousands
Wow,
of pixels. They see a world
that's cool.
way beyond what our eyes can see.
Look at them go. Oh my goodness.
See this. It's a special pigment.
See if there's a queen. Can we find the queen anywhere?
In the center of the flower, guiding the bee to the tasty nectar, and of course the sweets.
Wow, that is so cool. That's probably what we saw outside.
Goes way beyond the visual. Scientists from the University of Bristol recently discovered that bees can sense the flower's direction field. Just like when you
It says that the hive was placed here on 5/3/2025. Most of the wax comb you can see was built by the previous colony, and this one is now cleaning, reusing, and adding to it. Do we see any new comb being built? Well, I would guess the lighter colored stuff's the new stuff. Look at them go. Wow.
Next time you see a bee buzzing around the garden on a warm spring afternoon, imagine how their world looks. And think about how
That's crazy.
invisible
And you got a bee dance. You got the round dance. Pollination pinball.
The Western or European honeybee pollinates 3/4 of the fruits, veggies, and
They got a pollination pinball machine.
Of course, there's a reason we don't call them zucchini bees, almond bees, or apple bees. They also give us honey.
Unfortunately, it is a work in progress and is currently out of order.
One healthy hive will make you consume
Here's your pollination section here.
honey in a single 1,000 flowers to fill its honey stomach, which can weigh as much as the bee itself when full of nectar. Now, on the way back to the hive, digestive enzymes are already working to turn that nectar into sweet gold. When she returns to the hive, the nectar into the mouth of another worker, and that bee will vomit it into another bee's mouth, and so on. This game of regurgitation telephone is an important part of the beekeeping process, since each bee adds more digestive enzymes to turn long chains of complex sugars in the raw nectar into simple monosaccharides like fructose and glucose. Now at this point, the nectar is still pretty watery, so the bees beat their wings and create an air current inside the hive.
Use the magnetic wand to help the honeybee collect the pollen from flowers and store it into the cells of the hive.
Can complete its transformation into honey. Because of its low water
Okay,
content
what do we do
and
here?
acidic pH, honey isn't a very inviting place for bacteria or yeast spoilage, and has an incredibly long shelf
Apparently
life
we're supposed to
in
pick
the
this
hive
stuff up and
industry. Honey has even been found
move it
in
around?
Egyptian tombs dating back thousands of years, pretty much unspoiled. Although
Pretty
I would
interesting.
personally eat it around the world and visit up to 8 million flowers. That takes teamwork and organization. While they can't talk, they do communicate with body language. Food. A circle dance means flowers are pretty close to the hive, but for food that's farther away, they get their waggle on. The waggle dance of the honey.
You're not covering your nose. There's your beekeeper suit right there.
At whatever angle the bee walks while waggling,
Scale,
what direction to go. It's straight up the line.
bee blower, super stand, honey extractor.
The axis pointed to the left or the right.
That looks really, really old. Go back 100 million years ago.
A single bee is a pretty simple creature, but together they create highly complex and
Bee brush, Vintage German fogger.
Because there can be only one. Now, during mating season, she'll fly.
There's another smoker, bee blower.
And store away their sperm, which she'll use back in her home hive to lay more than 1,000 eggs a day throughout the rest of her life. Any unfertilized eggs, those that don't join up with sperm, will mature into male drones because they only have one set of chromosomes. But fertilized eggs are all genetically female. They're destined to become either queens or the back.
Ooh, what's in the window?
Most females become workers.
Nothing.
Just one wears the hive crown.
Just add honey.
Activates genetic programming that shifts its entire destiny. Every bee larva is initially fed a nutrient-rich food called royal jelly. But after a few days, worker bee babies are switched to a mixture of pollen and honey called bee bread. But queens eat royal jelly their whole life, even as adults. Scientists used to think it was just royal jelly that put queens on the throne. But just last year, they discovered one chemical in bee bread, the food that queens don't get, that keeps worker bees sterile. Being a queen seems to be just as much about what bees don't eat as what they do.
Beekeeping around the world.
On its grandest scale, with intricate societies cooperating to make
Comb honey sections, foundation, combs of honey. This is very, very cool. And for free, can't beat it. Beekeeping around the world, Europe, Japan. These hand-painted Yugoslavian beehive fronts were used after 1850. The colorful mural served to help bees return to the correct hive. Today, these hand-picked hive fronts are a form of folk art. Honey Power, Beekeeper Explorer, Sir Edmund Hillary was the first man to reach the top of Mount Everest in 1953. He was a full-time beekeeper from New Zealand when not off climbing mountains. Honey was one food he used to give him energy to reach the top. Steel climbers used on the snow and ice of Mount Everest. Glee. Honey Acres high honey fruit bars were used on the climb of Mount Everest, called On Top Everest 89. As part of a nutrition research project approved by the USDA and the U.S. Navy, high honey fruit bars provided a chewy burst of energy at extremely cold temperatures. Wow. That's crazy. Egypt.
Just like when you run across a carpet in your socks, bees build up a positive charge as they buzz through the air. The flowers are slightly negative. This helps pollen jump from the flower with a bee like electric velcro. It also helps the bee figure out if another worker has already visited that flower.
Again, folks, if you want to read this stuff, pause it. I'll try to get out of the way.
But their fuzzy little bodies might be buzzing like their hair when you rub a balloon across. Now, evolution's been playing matchmaker between bees and flowers for millions of years.
Enemies of the honeybee, bears.
Imagine how their world looks.
Leave the bees alone, bears. Well, at least they don't have Winnie the Pooh here. Touch and sniff beeswax. Doesn't smell like anything.
Of course, there's
Rendering processing of beeswax.
bees, almond bees, or apple bees. They also give us honey.
Harvesting of beeswax.
One healthy hive will make you consume more than 50 kilograms of honey in a single year. And that takes a lot of work.
Look at all the items, the products that use honey.
Come out of flowers is that golden sticky stuff. But after finding a suitable food source, bees dive in head first, using their long, specially adapted tongues to slurp up tiny sips of nectar into one of two stomachs. A single bee might have to drink from more than 1,000 flowers to fill its honey stomach, which can weigh as much as the bee itself when full of nectar. Now, on the way back to the hive, digestive enzymes are already working to turn that nectar into sweet gold. When she returns to the hive, the forager bee will vomit the nectar into the mouth of another worker, and so on. This game of regurgitation telephone is an important part of the game.
A bee or not a bee? That is a question.
And more digestive enzymes, which are long chain, create an air
inside the hive to evaporate and thicken nectar. Finally, capping the cell with beeswax so the enzyme-rich bee barb
Can you guess, am I a bee, a wasp, or a fly?
low water content and acidic pH.
That looks like a hornet.
A very inviting place for bacteria.
Oh, that's a wasp.
It has an incredibly long shelf
That looks like a yellow jacket. That's a bee. What? These are all wrong. I'm a bee. I am a fly. Huh. I failed miserably. Northwest Wisconsin is home to 166 species of bees. Wisconsin has 388. North America, 4,000. Worldwide, 20,000. Wow.
Foragers dance to tell other bees where to find food. A circle dance means flowers are pretty close to the hive, but for food that's farther away, they get their waggle on. The waggle dance of the honeybee was first decoded by
Vision.
Frisch, and it's definitely one of the coolest examples.
So this was L.L. Langstroth.
First,
Langstroth.
in a straight line, wagging its body back and forth and vibrating its wings, before repeating in a figure eight. At whatever angle the bee walks while waggling, it tells the other bees what direction to go. If it's straight up the line of the honeycombs, then the food is in the direction of the sun. If the dance is pointed to the left or the right, the other bees know to fly at that angle relative to the sun. The longer the waggle, the farther away the food is. And the better the food, the more excited the bee shakes its body. If that's not amazing enough, even if they can't see the sun itself, they can infer where it's a pretty simple creature, but together they create highly complex and social societies. There's three main classes in a beehive. Drones,
That's the queen
workers,
right
and
there.
queens. And when a new queen is born, she immediately runs around and kills her sisters because there can be only one. Now, during mating season, she'll fly to a distant hive to mate with several males and store away their sperm, which she'll use back in her home hive to lay more than 1,000 eggs
And
day
drones.
throughout the rest of her life. Any unfertilized eggs, those that don't join up with sperm, will mature into male drones, which means they only have one set of chromosomes. But fertilized eggs are all genetically female.
The honeybee anatomy.
Queens or workers.
But just last year, they discovered one chemical in bee bread, the food that queens don't get, that keeps worker bees sterile. Being a queen seems to be just as much about what bees don't eat as what they do. Making honey.
All right, so we just exited the museum here at Honey Acres. Got me some patties. Got a couple of varieties. I got raspberry, orange, coffee one for my wife. Something else. I don't remember. I bought 4 different kinds, but it was a really, really neat place for free. And again, unless you look off the road, you're not going to really notice this. There's no sign like by the road. So this is the only reason I saw it was right here. I was driving, I was looking around, and I saw the sign here off the road. Because 67 is right over here, right up here at the top of the hill. That's Highway 67 going south. We're south of Neosho, but we're north of Oconomowoc. But it's a really, really neat museum, and you can't beat the price. I mean, it was free. It's small, but a lot of information about bees there, and I found it to be very, very cool. If you're in the area, folks, give it a check. Check it out. Check out Honey Acres, the Honey of a Museum. It's a really neat place to check out. That's going to do it for this episode of Road Trips with Yogi from the Honey Acres Bee and Honey Museum. Until the next episode, folks, I am Yogi. Thank you for stopping by and joining me on this adventure. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Those are all free to do. You can support this channel one of two ways. Become a patron on patreon.com, www.patreon.com/roadtripswithyogi, or you can become a member on this YouTube channel. Your donations will help support this channel and the costs related to it. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, if you like the content, please check out those options. I would appreciate it very much. But please give it a like. Likes are very, very important. And until the next episode, folks, take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. I'm Yogi, and I'm out of here. I'm going to try one of these Honey Acres. They're like discs. This is a dark chocolate honey, and it's raspberry flavored. And it's melting. Even though I have it in my bag with ice, it's melted. Actually, it's not melted. That's just like honey and stuff coming through. So that's what it looks like, dark chocolate. That's what it looks like there, the dark chocolate. Yummy. Let's get a bite. Actually, I'm just gonna pop the whole thing in my mouth. Oh, wow. Wow, that's good. It's not thick at all. It's like a real thin filling. But wow, is that good. Nice and sweet. The dark chocolate. Once you finish the filling, the dark chocolate is very... It has no flavor. It's not sweet, the dark chocolate. Oh. Ooh. I don't know. I gotta make sure I'm eating them, getting it all down while there's still some sweetness left, because once all that was left was the dark chocolate, there was like no sugar in that dark chocolate whatsoever. It was all cocoa, and it was very... I'm used to having dark chocolate that at least has a little bit of sweetness to it. That did not have any sweetness to it at all. That was very... It wasn't very, it was bitter, and I had a hard time finishing the chocolate part alone. So I gotta make sure when I'm eating those to make sure I'm mixing it up good with the filling and not just having the chocolate at the end, because that was not... It's very good all together, but once that chocolate kicks in and you don't have anything else, all the sweetness is gone from the filling, it's a little bit bitter. And yeah, I would probably... It would be nice to see if they did like a milk chocolate, but I'm assuming they don't want to do a milk chocolate because of the sugar involved. So I think that's why they did dark chocolates, because they want to promote the honey, not the sugar. So I'd have to say it's good altogether, but after that first burst of flavor, it goes away pretty quick and you're left with just the chocolate. And again, the chocolate is probably pretty high on the cocoa percentage. Not sweet at all. So it's kind of off-putting at the end. I liked it, but I didn't care for the cocoa part at the end. It was kind of just not enough flavor there.